Hey everyone, this is Lydia from lydiasdesigns.com and lydiasrosaries.com, and I wanted to share with you today a journaling practice that has really helped me over the past few years. It's called the Examen. It was first created by St. Ignatius Loyola from the 1600s, and it's a very useful way of being self-reflective in your life and really seeing how God is using you throughout your day, even within the little things. And I thought it would be interesting today to go over my journal because I think this is a spiritual practice that can be especially useful if you like journaling and journals. You don't have to be you don't have to be a stationary lover to do the Examen. You can do this digitally. You can do this on a cheap composition book. There's no barrier for entry with this, but it is something that can be really enjoyable for people who are into notebooks and stationery. So I thought I would share this today. This is a journal cover from Little Mountain Bindery. It's called Affilian, and they're out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. And this has been a very useful cover for me, very robust, and I've been very pleased with it. I have my little charms here: St. Maximilian Kolbe, St. Kateri, and St. Michael the Archangel, the tiny saints. So let's get started. Okay, so I don't normally show my notebooks to people, and I'm not actually going to show you an Examen entry because it really wouldn't be a very useful entry if it was something that I could show to the entire world. But I do show some pages of my notebook, and one of the things you'll find is kind of my random designs in it. That's just kind of how I get gunk out of my head, is to just start doodling. Okay, so there are 5 main components to the daily Examen. And you can really, even though this is a traditionally Catholic practice, this is something that all Christians, regardless of denomination, can find fruitful. There's really nothing doctrinally different in Examen. We all agree that we can find ways to grow closer to God, and so this is a great practice no matter what denomination. It is also great if you're not a believer at all. I think we can all find ways to discover how we can be better people, and if you're not a believer but you want to grow as a person, you can always modify this too. So what I'm going to say today pertains to my Christian faith, but you can modify it as you see fit. So the first part of the Examen is to be aware of the Holy Spirit. So you want to offer your day up to God, offer your experiences up, and you want to pay attention to the movements of your heart, and we'll go over that a little bit more later. So you just want to become aware that you're in God's presence. God has been guiding your day, even in your good choices and your bad choices. The next step is to review your day with gratitude. So you want to look at those little things that happen. They can be big things, they can be little things, it doesn't matter. Just find 5 things to be grateful for. And even if those 5 things are, you had lunch today and you liked the food on your plate, and if that's all you can find to be grateful for, then write that down. And I know that I've had my days where some days that's the only thing I can really put down. And so you want to walk through your day. You want to take note of your joys and delights, and you want to take note of your interactions with others. What did you give to other people? What did you receive? What opportunities did God give you that you were called to respond? And so that's an important feature. Next, you want to pay attention to your emotions, and we'll go over that a little further too. Reflect on your positive and negative emotions throughout the day and see what God may be saying through that. Reflect on how you could have loved better. How did you, like I said before, how did you respond? How could you have done better? and one thing I want to stress in this is you want to be careful not to put yourself down. You want to be careful not to get stuck in negativity. If you're somebody who if you have a disposition of really beating yourself up, try not to do that. The point of this is to grow closer to God, is to recognize those points of how to get better, look for God's mercy, and then see what he's saying to get to be a better person. But don't put yourself down. Don't beat yourself up to the point where you get stuck. This is not the point of this. The point of this is to grow closer to God. So you want to, all of this, you want to take count of your emotions and find joy. So after you kind of reviewed your day and you look at your emotions, you want to choose one feature of the day and pray from it. What is that? Out of all the things that have happened throughout your day, what is that one thing that you may want to focus on and you want to pray about? Take note of that. Then after you do that, look toward tomorrow. Ask God for wisdom for the tomorrow. Pay attention to the feelings that surface. Seek God's guidance. Really pray about what God is asking you to do the next day. And then end with a prayer. For Catholics, that can be the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the Creed, whatever you feel comfortable with praying. So this is kind of what I do for the first page. It helps me I need structure, so this helps me structure what my entries need to look like when I go throughout my day. All right, soul words. So, as I said before, you want to pay attention to your feelings, and you want to be specific about your feelings. You don't want to just go in this thinking, well, the only thing I can really think of is happy. Happy is a great emotion, a great word to use, but is there something more specific? So I have this list here of feeling words, and I come back to this often when I'm doing my entries to make sure that I'm using the right word for this. So this is really essential to put in the first part of my notebook. So, as I said previously, you want to pay attention to the movement of your heart. And this is what we call in Ignatian spirituality, the patterns of consolation and desolation. So, if you experience something throughout the day, what were those feelings, those movements in your heart? And so before you went to your feeling words. Now, what did those feeling words bring you? A sense of consolation, where you feel increased love of God, hope, charity, joy, sorrow for sin, not shame, but sorrow for sin, peace, quiet, movement towards God? Or did the situation and the feelings bring you to desolation, where you felt darkness of soul, unrest, where you focused on yourself, desire for base things, sloth, dryness, sadness, separation from God, thoughts that lead away from God? You want to pay attention to those, because we're always faced with choices throughout the day of how to grow closer to God, grow closer to feelings of consolation, or away from God, which are feelings of desolation. And one of the things that I want to stress in this, if you can, find a spiritual mentor or a spiritual director or a pastor or a priest, whoever, that can help you kind of dissect these feelings. I've been blessed enough to have a spiritual director for almost 10 years now, and it's so good to have an exterior, objective voice to help me sift through these feelings. So putting them in the notebook is so essential, but it's also so helpful to talk to somebody about this and have somebody give me feedback on, yes, you are growing closer to God, or what you just did was kind of get closer to yourself. You were following the feelings of desolation. You were feeling dry, and you're closing in on yourself. So I really stress that if you can, find a spiritual mentor in this process. So these are the first parts of my Examen, like I said, this helps me focus. And because this is different than just basic journaling. This is structured journaling to help me move past my feelings and grow closer to God as a person. So I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to show you my entries, but I will give you kind of an overview of how my Examen is set up. So I have the date. I normally put the date at the top of the page. I start with about 5 things that I'm grateful for. Next, I go into the petition and review, where I give a general overview of my day and my feelings. So this is where I normally flip back to the soul words, and I pinpoint which word is appropriate for the overview of the day. And as I do this, I highlight the words that I choose. I highlight the feeling words, so I'm paying close attention to the feelings that have happened throughout my day. So then I next go to my response. How did I respond, or how do I respond to God in light of all of this? God is showing me how my day went. He's showing me how he led me, and he's showing me how I used my free will to either accept or reject him in big and little things. So based on that knowledge, what do I do next? What is God telling me to do next? And like I said, don't go into shame with this. Be merciful to yourself. Thank God that he's showing you things that you need to do to move forward. Confess and let go. So then I look toward tomorrow. Based on all of this knowledge through prayer, what is my plan tomorrow? And you can just look at a calendar and see what your schedule is like. And then you look back on your Examen and you say, okay, I have this scheduled. What do I need to do tomorrow, and how do I need to respond to God? And you build that out. And of course, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So it's still something that we need to give over to God. And then we start the process of the Examen again, and we see how we responded. So like I said, this is a very useful tool for me. It's not for everybody, but like I said, I feel like this is something that could help you. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Please also mention in the comments if you have your own spiritual setup to help you grow closer to God. So God bless, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.